everyone. I'm Kerry George with CIBN TV on YouTube, and we are also found at thecibn.com, bringing you networking. And today, I am so excited because we're going to be talking about the Global Evolution of Business Summit. And I have with me my guest today is Tom Matzen, and I am super excited that he's here because Tom is like the authority in business. Okay. You want to hire Tom to build 6 and 7, 8-figure businesses by helping them package their wisdom and knowledge into a high ticket program that guarantees results for his clients. He has started 89 businesses of his own, 8 to 7 figures and beyond. And more importantly, his personal coaching clients have generated more than $100 million in sales in dozens of industries. He's made more than enough mistakes so he can keep you from them. That's great. And he's made and lost millions several times over. He's a 2-time international bestseller with 3 books. He shared his message with more than 100,000 entrepreneurs on 4 continents and in hundreds of TV, radio, print, and podcast interviews. And he now leads an emerging global enterprise with a mission to empower 10,000 authority entrepreneurs to build global movements and 7 and 8-figure businesses by December 2024. Oh my gosh. Wow. So today, Tom's going to share how to get 9 times the prospects to raise their hand and ask for more details from you using strategic risk reversal. He's going to tell you how he's going to be covering that at our upcoming summit. So Tom, I'm like super excited that you are here.
I'm so excited that the snow is melting in behind on that picture in the background. That's so fantastic. I also realized as you read that out loud, I got 3 books, 2 international bestsellers. One must be a dud then. I just realized the 3rd book must be a dud. Actually,
you might want to.
I didn't play the bestseller game on Amazon with it, but I was just sitting there as you said that. I went, well, that's 31 buyers, 1:30 in the morning. Took me about a week to do. I could do that.
There you go.
Super excited to be here. Welcome, everyone. Whether you're tuning in from down the street, across the planet, or somewhere else beyond in another ethos, glad you're here.
You know what? And they're tuning in the future as well. Who knew? So this is going to be super cool. Tom, talk about who do you serve? What kind of offering do you have out there, and who's scooping it up?
Our focus is helping what we call authority entrepreneurs. So these are speakers, authors, influencers, business coaches, or consultants, package their wisdom and knowledge, put it together in a format that they can sell a high ticket program that literally guarantees results, and then take it across the globe, build what we call a global movement in the process so they can have way more impact, way more influence, and yes, way more income all at the same time.
I love building a global movement. That sounds like fun. I mean, what else would you want to do? So I am jacked about that. I know we're working on our own. So
you are. In fact, your Great Big Summit is a big leap forward in building a strategic alliance across the globe in the space that you're in. You're walking our talk. I love it. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. We got 8 networks so far coming on board and a pile of awesome speakers. We'll talk about that more. But what I want to ask you about is how'd you get started?
I think it's called a murder of speakers, not a pile of speakers.
A pile.
Maybe,
it's a murder.
Maybe it's a like gaggle. Crows. Probably a gaggle of speakers. I'm sorry, I digress. You were saying?
I do prefer murder over gaggle. Just saying.
Although there are some speakers you definitely want to murder after you hear them. That's for sure.
So, yeah, or murder yourself because you've been forced to listen.
They shall remain
all right,
nameless.
Tom. How did you get started in business? How did all this begin for you?
Well, first I came out of my mother's womb many, many years ago. No, actually, my first business, I was actually in high school, and it was a DJ company, rocking out the tunes as a DJ. And I realized it was a very simple way to get paid gas money and meet girls. And so I realized early on an impact-driven business was a lot more fun than a money-driven business. In fact, I don't know if you know this. We might have done. I don't think so. This is my business card from that very first business way back when. And you know how in business you're supposed to have a USP, right? A unique selling proposition, something that's why someone does business with you versus all the other choices, right? We all know this. Everyone tuning in. Well, I keep this here to remind me that I'm not as smart as I think I am in marketing sometimes. See if you can read the USP on the business card.
We play for anyone.
Yeah. Pretty much the opposite of a USP.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking to myself, I also got started in the music industry. I ran a karaoke operation when that was brand new thing way back in the late 80s, early 90s. I also had a USP, but it wasn't that.
Wasn't we play for anyone? It was we help anyone, no matter how bad you can sing, pretend to sing.
No, it was there'll be a lineup at the door within 6 months, or we will play for free for a month.
Risk reversal. You knew the power of risk reversal intuitively back then.
That's right. And I didn't have any clue what I was doing. I just kind of stumbled on that.
Our risk reversal probably would have been, we will take a girl home with our last dance or we won't get paid. But we never had that officially. That would not have been proper. But we definitely weren't motivated by money. We spent all of our money that we made on equipment and on LPs. For you kids out there, that's a CD that's this big. Looks like a pizza, except it's really thin and it doesn't taste like a pizza. But they actually had music on them back in the day when us old folks used to play music. It was amazing.
Wow.
At least it wasn't a gramophone. I'm not that old. Nice try, kids.
And it wasn't the polka either. So.
Oh no, we had that. We did play for everyone. We had polka. We had country. We used to joke. We do every kind of music, country and Western, and rock and roll and swing and jive and classical and Kerry, I forgot this. We brought 4,000 LPs to each gig. You know, back when the milk crates would hold all your albums. We had half a car full of milk crates just of the albums. We'd take 2 cars to every gig, one full of equipment and one full of the LPs and some cords.
That's amazing.
Crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, no sense of economics whatsoever. We just thought, well, we can write off the purchase of our albums, at least doing it that way. But that's where I got started, first business. But it was actually instrumental because there were many lessons I learned. For example, and I learned this later from Tony Robbins, but Tony would say, you're in the entertainment business first, then you're in the education business second, then you're in the inspiration or change people's lives business third. And first it's entertain, then it's educate, then it's inspire or motivate or whatever you want to call it. And, Tony's done pretty good teaching people that approach and philosophy. But as a DJ, it was the same thing. You had to start with entertain. You couldn't make a difference unless you entertain people. Well, guess what? As thought leaders in our space, that's our job first, we got to entertain. Otherwise, people aren't going to listen. They're not going to listen. They're not going to listen. We got too many choices nowadays, right?
It's true. Absolutely true. So tell me about, like, these days you're helping a lot of entrepreneurs, you're helping a lot of business owners, move their businesses forward, turn them into 6, 7, 8-figure businesses and beyond. So where does that passion come from? What's your why? Why do you get up in the morning and put your socks on and go do this? I assume you wear socks, right?
Most of the time. I just spent a week in Puerto Vallarta. I cannot say I did it there, but here, yes. It's 4 degrees Celsius right now in Vancouver. For me, I went through 3 basic eras over the 37 and a half years I've been an entrepreneur. And so the big why shifted. And one of the things that I share with people all the time is give yourself permission to change your calling as you grow and expand and change what you're doing. A lot of people think once they pick their calling, they have to stick with it forever. And I found personally 10, 12 years was pretty much it. And then I would move on. So for example, you said, 6, 7, and 8 figure. We actually don't work with 6-figure entrepreneurs. The 0 to 6 figures, we teach them for free. We don't take money for that audience anymore. But for 10 years, that was my entire focus, the first 100,000. Now we focus on the first million or the first 10 million for most of our clients and some above that. And part of the reason is those people, my experience, are driven by mission. They're driven by impact. They're driven by calling. They're what we like to call dolphins rather than sharks. And we've talked about this offline. And it's so, for me, it's so important to play with dolphins because dolphins are trying to make a difference in the world. It's all about the pod. It's all about the family. It's all about the fun. Whereas the sharks, it's all about them, right? It's all about kill or be killed. And their vision is there's a small pie out there and we're carving it up. And in
Right.
order for me to get a big piece, you got to get a small piece. And that's their model of the world. And a dolphin has a totally different approach. A dolphin looks at it and goes, I got a pie, you got a pie, you got a pie. It's like Oprah, right? Everyone gets a pie, right? We're giving them all out. And that the dolphin mindset is 1 + 1 is 11, whereas the shark mindset is 1 + 1 is 2. And therefore, if I get 2, you get 0.
That's
And
right.
so
Yeah.
for me, it's super important now to focus and play with people that want to build a movement. They don't always know they want to build a movement when they first meet us or come to one of our master classes or one of our big global events. They're simply looking to get clients or looking to get sales. And then they find out, oh, if you're focusing on serving, you can actually make a lot more money and have a lot more fun versus taking. Right. And in the networking space, right? This is a classic example. One of my favorite stories, we haven't talked about this, is Vic Lindell, Canada's former national volleyball coach, the only person to coach a women's volleyball team to beat the Americans at a Pan Am or Olympics ever. And Vic's specialty was in motivating super elite athletes. He then became a business coach for years, and he would share all sorts of strategies around how do you motivate world-class athletes and world-class coaches. And I learned a ton from Vic, but one of the big things I learned from Vic was it's super important to figure out where the fire is inside someone, right? What's driving them? What's their passion and their calling? And then as I see it now, my job is to help amplify that.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Help you amplify that, right? Wherever it happens to be. And so much so that Vic had a policy where he would only work with clients that all of his other clients agreed were acceptable. Like it was like over the top. So it's, to me, like you want to be clear on the game you're playing. You want to be clear on who you're serving. And if you're not clear, that's okay. You're just not ready to build a 7 or an 8-figure business yet. So experiment, right? Experiment. Start serving with this audience, start serving with this audience, see what resonates, see what inspires you and gives you the fire. Because fundamentally, entrepreneurship is full of enough struggles and enough challenges and enough ups and downs that if it doesn't give you the fire, like you were talking about, you don't want to get out of bed.
That's
you don't want
right.
to get out of bed. And a lazy entrepreneur who doesn't want to get out of bed doesn't get a lot done.
That's true. So you've been at this for a while. If you were going to give young Tom Matzen at 20 years old some advice for his future self, what would you say to young Tom?
Great question. It's the same advice I got when I was 23. And I've shared it many times in interviews over the years. Focus, and this is tough advice, I know, for most people listening. I'm telling you right now, I know it's going to be tough, but if you do it, you're going to love it. Take your first 35 years and focus on learning as much as humanly possible in the fields that attract you. And then the next 35 years, focus on earning. And if you do that, you will have the wisdom and experience and the chops, as I like to call it, to massively earn a lot of money. But you'll also have the depth and breadth of experience to handle the ups and downs that come along the way so much better. What a lot of people do, especially young entrepreneurs today, is they want to make $1 million right away. They don't want to learn. They just want to make $1 million. And some of them do. And most of them 2 or 3 years later have burned it all up or blown it or spent it all. And they're in much worse positions. It's kind of like the mythical lottery winner that's worse off, 5 years down the road. Well, I can tell you, I don't know about the lottery winners. I can tell you with entrepreneurs that make it big first time out of the gates, rarely keep that money. Rarely keep that money. So if you're one of them and you're listening, get someone around you that's lost their shirt already and get advice from them, or you'll become one of them. You're destined to repeat that. Kerry, we've talked about that, the ups and downs entrepreneurs go through, right? It's huge. COVID is just the latest dramatic example, right?
Exactly.
Because, we can blame it on a third party, right?
Right.
And I mean, people have flourished in this environment, and people that have perished in this environment.
Absolutely. We've got CIBN members who said this was their best year ever, was 2020, because they were tied into the network that could help them, but anyone who was out there on their own, like you said, they didn't have anyone to ask. They didn't know where to go get help. And you know what? Life took them out. Yeah. A lot of them.
Totally.
So, yeah. So you do a lot of, you do a lot of networking, a lot of collaborating. You do that kind of stuff, right? So why do you feel that networking and collaboration is so important for business owners?
I do, but I don't call it that. So, because in what I call it is the answer to that question. I call it building high trust relationships. And I know you feel exactly the same way because we've talked about this. Because frankly, there's a lot of people in the space you're in that aren't focused on that. And we talked about that offline as well, right? So the difference is, are you walking to an event, handing out cards, call me, call me, call me, call me, call me. Or one of the other things I learned from Vic Lindell, when he went to a networking event, he didn't even bring cards. He didn't even bring cards. He would collect cards, but not hand them out. And he would build high trust relationships, and he would follow up, and he would build that trust relationship. So for me right now, most of the connecting I do is done in cyber world, in Zoom or webinars or master classes or masterminds. In fact, I went to my first in-person mastermind just a month ago as we record this now, in 3 years. And I used to go to 2, 3, 4, 5 a month all over the world. And so for me, it was like, oh, I miss it. It's so nice to hug people. To actually shake someone's hand is like amazing. And so it's coming back, everyone. It's coming back. Look out. But having said that, I call it building high trust relationships because that's actually the purpose.
Yeah.
The purpose isn't to get to know people. The purpose is to get to know people well.
Yeah.
Right? What serves them?
If you were building high trust relationship, what would be your one tip to make that happen faster and better?
100% focus on them, not you. I will go to networking events, cyber or in person, and I will spend my time when I meet someone so much on them, they don't even know who I am. They don't know I have 150,000 people on my email list. They don't know we're doing tens of millions a year in sales. They don't know I'm a influential person in their space that could really make or break their economic future. They don't know any of that. Why? Because I don't let them ask a single question about me. I'm busy finding out about them. What makes them tick? What drives them? What are their passions? What are their challenges? What are their struggles? What are they proud about? What are they planning on? What are their big dreams? Where are they going in life? That approach is a servant leadership approach. Absolutely. And I know you resonate with that because we've talked about that as well. Servant leadership is not about you and what you can take. Gee, will that Kerry promote my event for me? She must have a big list. She's a networker, right? Like that pouncing, predatory sort of approach. Yeah, the jaguar of the jungles, right? It's like, yeah, that's not going to go very well. And by the way, even if you are that type of personality, how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel living your life with constant rejection? Right? It's not a lot of fun. When I go to a live networking event, I might only meet 2 or 3 people, but I'll get to know them.
Yeah.
I'll get to know them. And I go in, one of my mentors, Brian Kurtz, one of the top direct response marketing people of all time, probably single-handedly responsible for killing more trees than any human alive. He's done over 2 billion direct mail pieces. Sorry, Brian. It's true. He's probably killed more trees than anyone I know. Brian has this idea when he's meeting people of 100-0. He gives 100% for them with zero expectation of reciprocity. And it's a phenomenal approach to take. If you can do it, it's not easy to do it, especially if you meet someone, you go, oh my God, like this person, I had the pleasure at this event I went to in Orlando. I met John Benson. And for you old timers out there, John Benson invented the video sales letter, which some of you may curse at today, but he literally invented the video sales letter. He's one of the top direct response copywriters in the world, and he was the guest speaker at this super high-end mastermind. And I'm like, John Benson, oh my God. But I'm telling you, 20 minutes with John, I found out he was a meat guy, and he had ribeye steaks twice a day, and he'd been doing so for a decade. He was 61 years old, had the body of a 35-year-old. It was like stunning, like couldn't believe it. Didn't talk any business. I didn't talk about his copywriting skills helping me, nothing. I was talking about him as a person.
Right.
Just, normal stuff that we do if we're not being silly about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Top 3 business tips you could give to an entrepreneur just starting out. What would you tell them?
If they were just starting out, Well, I'll make it a 3-tip answer with 4 tips because I'm an
Okay.
over-deliver guy. And the answer is Ikigai. Write it down if you're listening in. Ikigai. It's a Japanese word, Ikigai, and it means finding the purpose of life. Comes from 800 years ago, and there are 4 keys in the Ikigai model for if you're starting out. Number 1, make a list of everything you're good at. Huge list, hopefully, everything you're good at. Number 2, make a list of everything you love to do. Everything you love to do. I don't care how silly or crazy it is. There are people getting paid to play video games. There are people getting paid to watch people play video games. I mean, there's nothing too crazy. Just make a list of all the stuff you love to do, all the stuff you're good at. Then the 3rd and 4th parts are, what does the world need and what can you get paid for? And so you take the first 2 lists and you look for the overlap. And wherever they overlap, you then work on the last 2. And that's how you find your calling. Now, if you're starting out and you figure out your calling, I would then find out the top 5 or 10 influencers in your calling, and I would woo them. I would find a way to learn from them somehow, somewhere. Become their apprentice. And master what they master in that area. And if you do that, not only will you make a lot more money in your life, you'll have a lot more impact and a lot more fun. And your downs, because they'll still happen, will be much shorter because you're on track. You have a vision. You know where you're going, right? When you know where you're going, it's easy to bounce back. When you have no clue where you're going, then you're just stuck.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
You're stuck.
Absolutely.
We don't want
So
to
let's talk about the Global Evolution of Business Summit that is coming up, and you're going to be one of the speakers for that. We got some other awesome speakers lined up, like David T. Fagan and Richard Kay and Stu McLaren are a few that have decided to join in for the fun. And we've got 8 business networks coming together. Oh my God, it's going to be awesome. So what are you going to be talking about at the summit? What is the
I'm going to talk about the single most profit producing strategy I have learned. I had the pleasure of learning this by accident when I was 23 years old, and I've used it for over 30 years. It has made me millions and millions and millions of dollars. More importantly, you'll learn it in the interview. You'll learn the entire process. And if you apply it, you will at least double your income from this day forward. And it's about strategic risk reversal, which is a fancy but very specific way to build guarantees into what you do and how you sell it. And it's called risk reversal. My old mentor, Jay Abraham, taught me this because you're taking the risk off of the prospect's shoulders and putting it on your shoulders. And the data is 9 times the prospects, 3 times the sales, minimum. And so you will absolutely love it. If you're looking to have more impact, more influence, and more income, you got to tune it in. And if you can't watch it live, will they be able to buy the recordings? I'm sure they will, right?
Yeah, actually, we've got a VIP upgrade where they can buy the recordings.
Oh, yeah, because we're offering all those cool gifts. That's right.
That's right. And I was just going to ask you, what's the cool gift you're bringing for the VIP upgrade? It's $97. They get all of this stuff that comes.
They're getting a $2,000 program, a program we've sold for $2,000 called the Strategic Alliance Mastery Program.
Wow.
And it's all about how to create joint ventures and strategic alliances, find partners, motivate them to support you and mail and promote for you, and literally grow exponentially. It's an incredible program. You get the entire program. As I say, we used to sell it for $2,000. Now we just save it for special situations like this. Last time I checked, 97.2% of our sales came from strategic alliances.
Wow.
So just imagine on a $10 million year, that means 300,000 would have come from our own efforts, 9.7 million from strategic alliances. That's how important this can be for you. And the best part is with good strategic alliances, you only pay on results.
That's right.
You only pay on results. And so it's the simplest way to grow your business, but it's also the best way to grow your business. That's our bonus if you buy the VIP part of the package.
Absolutely. Well, that's very exciting. I think that people should be jacked about that. I mean, it's a $2,000 gift. It is amazing. It's going to help people push their revenue forward. We have so many cool things that are happening at this great big summit. I think it's going to be like the biggest networking summit of its kind, like ever. I mean, I don't know of any summit that brought together 8 entirely different networking organizations and speakers of this level. I mean, this is just amazing, the lineup that we have. 4 days of excitement and networking with lots of breakout rooms. You're going to fill your boots. There's going to be so much knowledge and there's going to be so much networking. You should be able to book appointments. You know, like I did 28 appointments on a smaller event. I got 28 appointments, made 6 sales right away in the first few days, right after the event. And that was a small event. Okay. This is a monster size event. I'm just giddy with excited.
I love it. I think it's a great idea. I love the fact that you're bringing strategic competitors together to partner up. One of the things you will learn if you buy the VIP package and get the Strategic Alliance Mastery Program bonus is that your best marketing partners are your direct competitors.
Absolutely.
Let me say that again. Your best marketing partners are your direct competitors, not your indirect competitors, which is what most people suggest. Your direct competitors. But you have to do that in a way that's honorable, right?
That's
You
right.
can't just say, hey, Kerry, I know you're competing with me, but will you sell my offer to your list? Like, that's not going to work very well, right? Mm-hmm. You got to build trust relationships, and you're doing it. You're walking the talk about this by having all of these great organizations partner together. I love it. Super happy to support you guys.
We're going to have so much fun. So I'm so glad that you're going to be a part of it. Well, everybody, you heard it here. We have the Global Evolution of Business Summit. It's coming up April 19th to 22nd. You can find it at the link there below, or you can just go to the CIBN.com. We have the event page there. It's listed right on the event page. Just click the button. The summit is free to attend.
What?
And
free to attend?
Free.
Such a deal. I'd pay twice that.
Absolutely. And it would be worth it.
It'd be worth every penny.
Absolutely. And then you can do the VIP upgrade because you got all that money left over because it was free. Awesome. Well, we can't wait for that to happen. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. Happy Capital.